Alright. Okay, well that's why you lost. You missed the basket. Okay. So. Let's see. We got Reinhog, Ana, Lucio, Sombra Echo. Yeah, so Ana's definitely the pick here for you. And the other team, they're just on Rein Zarya. Okay. Wait, your Sombra's dead. How did that happen? She got one clipped. Okay. That's... can't do anything about that. Let's see. So you're just hard scoping down main right now. Let's see. You're not in any danger. Okay. So let's see. Actually, so for right now, this is fine. Hard scoping down main. The main problem is that you haven't used nade or sleep yet, which is fine. You're probably gonna want to save sleep for their Doom or Tracer, because those are the only people that can really hurt you, because they're on Rein Zarya. So saving sleep for their flankers. Hopefully you do that. And then for nade, you're not gonna. Being back there is fine. It's just you're gonna struggle to find a good nade that could actually hit the enemy instead of just healing your team. Your Lucio and your Rein are kind of alone because your Hog is about to flank, and you're playing Sombra Echo, so nobody's gonna be with your front line except your Lucio and your Rein. So your Rein is about to get. I would assume your Rein is gonna die within the next 3 seconds, just because he's about to get ran over by a Zarya that has, well, no charge. Okay, she has no charge, but the Rein and Zarya are just probably going to run her over, unless your Rein hard disengages, which he probably won't. Your Rein's about to die, and there's not a whole lot you can do, but one thing to recognize is that if your Rein is going to be alone, because your DPS is that your Rein is 100% going to be alone. Rein isn't even a good pick, but obviously you can't control that. What you could be looking at is to play like over here, because you could at least put some pressure on their Rein by setting up a Bionade, that's pretty much the only thing you can do. But being back here is fine, just you're not going to be able to get much value out of your nade, and your team comp is not great, but we'll see how this plays out. Yeah, so your Rein just gets ran over. You did a good job there throwing your nade in. There's not a whole lot you can get off of that. That was a good nade. You might have wanted to look for it a little bit earlier. Let's see. When did they use bubble? So the main thing about Bionade is that the only thing they can do to get rid of the effect is to bubble. So let's see. When did they use bubble? Okay, so because of where you're positioned, unless it was called in team chat, you pretty much had no way of knowing if they used bubble or not unless you saw it. I don't know. Let's see if you saw it. Let's see. I doubt you saw the bubble.
Mobility increased.
Okay, yeah, so you did not see their. Okay, actually, you could have maybe spotted it. But if you did spot it, this is going to be your best bet to throw in your nade, because if your nade is going to get value, it's going to be because they don't have bubble on cooldown. And that's your best way to get a purple on the Rein that they can't cleanse. And if that Rein gets purpled, you actually don't have a lot of damage. Where's your Echo? Your Echo is left side and your Sombra's dead. So it probably wouldn't have even saved you this fight. This fight was lost from the beginning because your Sombra died and you have really no front line. So even if the nade did connect here, it wouldn't have mattered probably. But it's a good thing to know is you should really, as soon as you see them use bubble, you should look for a Bionade, because that's the best chance to kill their Rein. And then, yeah, that's pretty much all you could have done here. Let's see. So you try to save your Rein. You did get a good nade off. But yeah, your Hog, well, I don't know what your Hog was doing. He went left side for some reason. You can't do much about that. Yeah. Gekko gets out. Your Sombra goes Tracer, which is a little bit better. Oh, your Sombra goes Sim. Okay. That's not great, not awful. Okay. So. You... Okay. So you're getting hard pushed here. You were focused on healing your Ryan, so oh actually no, it was just the Tracer. I'm mistaken. So you just kind of got Tracer just kind of ran over you, which there's not always a lot you can do about that. But here you you used nade and you just kind of stood in this corner, which see, the Tracer got bubbled and value. The sleep would have connected if it wasn't for the bubble. It's kind of unlucky. But what you could have done is you could have kept backing up over here because your team is just going to get ran over. Just because of the sheer damage differential, they have so much more damage than you do. But you could have saved that death by backing up over here. You might not have been able to save yourself, but it definitely would have been a safer position. But yeah, let's see. So you're just respawning right now. Let's see. Your DPS are going top left. Your Sim should definitely be with your Rhine. I think it looks like your Sim's gonna go for a turret bomb. I don't know what she's doing, but let's see what you're doing. Okay, so you're pushed up a little bit further now, which is better because your team. So. Oh, okay. I assume the Tracer was there.
I have found the enemy. Come and face me.
Turn around. Okay. Did you just yeet sleep? What was that? Okay, you heard the Tracer, you heard the blink, but that was her blinking out. Unless you're in danger, you really don't need to use sleep. Like that sleep would have been sick if you hit it, and it would have definitely got a kill. But that's so unlikely that you can perfectly tell where she is just based off a blink noise. So that's just try to hold on to sleep a little bit more than that, because it could have ended up saving you, or at least because the Tracer is going to go on you real soon. Let's see, you're half health, so what do you do with nade? Okay, you just nade yourself with the Tracer, which is fine. If you're in team chat here, this is where you would ask Lucio to heal you. I don't know if you did or not. I don't know if Lucio was in chat, but that's definitely what you want to do. Otherwise, just nade yourself right away, because that Tracer, you know the Tracer is back right, because you saw her, or you heard her, so you know she's going to come on you soon. And you did better here pushing up with your team, because if you stayed back there, you would have been completely alone, and you would have been 1v1ing a Tracer, and you would already lost sleep. You would have already used sleep, so that definitely you would have lost that. So you pushed up, which is good, but you really just have to keep pushing up. You have to run and stay with your Lucio and your Zarya, because in this situation, the Tracer, there's nothing that's going to stop the Tracer except your tanks, because your DPS are... Okay, where are your DPS? Your DPS actually are back here, and they are shooting the Tracer. I didn't realize that. Okay, I thought your DPS were still flanking. So if you could play with your Sim, which you're sort of doing here, I understand you have to LOS with your tanks, so this is fine actually. I didn't realize your DPS were back here. But yeah, you just want to stay with people who are able to protect you from the Tracer. So yeah, I think you're nanoing right now. Yeah, you're nanoing your Rhine, which is good. Alright, yeah, let's keep watching. Whoa. Okay.
You're powered up. Get in there.
So you nano him, he shatters a shield, and then you go for a sleep. That sleep would be fine. The main thing here is that your Rhine should not have been over here. This is a lot of your Rhine's fault. He needs to play where you can see him from main, because you're so far pushed up, their Zarya comes from around the pillar. So basically, if you're in team chat here, you would tell your Rhine to back up, and then, because if you're pushed this far up, they have exactly what happens. The Zarya goes around the pillar, and if the Zarya didn't kill you, the Doom would have, because he was already coming in. And then your DPS are just not helping you this game. Yeah, your DPS, you're on Sim, Echo, neither of which are particularly great with Rhine Zarya. So that's kind of DPS, which I understand you can't do anything about that. But the main thing here is don't, even if you're, okay, so your Rein is feeding right now. Well, he's not feeding because he's nanoed, but the problem is he's playing where you had to position yourself here because your Rein was out of position. So it just kind of snowballed into you getting killed. I understand that the Rein was here and you had to try to save him, but this was where it'd be better to communicate to him that he has to back up instead of getting yourself killed by trying to save him, because he does have nano. He can go a second without heals, especially because their Zarya was flanking to beam you, and I don't think you knew that, which is fine. But you can't push this far up into Doom Zarya. And I know with the last fight I told you to push farther up, but pushing like onto the point, it's like I mean, it depends on where the enemy team is. Here, this would be too far up, but the last fight this was fine. So basically, because their team is so much further pushed up, you need to keep a degree of distance to where you could not get beamed by a Zarya, and where you can see the Doom coming and sleep him. And again, you already used sleep back here. Or actually no, you slept the Rein shield, right. Which is, normally that would be fine, except for the fact that they're playing Doom. Because that Doom is going to come on you every single team fight, and you need to have sleep for it. So sleeping a Rein shield just to hope for a sleep on him is not worth it here, because you need sleep to protect yourself. Because if you had sleep, you could have tried to sleep the Zarya, and if you did succeed, the Doom would have came on you, and you kind of just have to hope for like a bubble or something. I don't think you have bubble. Your Zarya has bubble right now, but you could have at least stayed alive a little bit longer. But yeah, that was a positional thing where the Zarya was able to flank you. Alright. So what happens here? I assume your team slowly dies. Let's see. Shatters nothing. Do you actually win this? No. No, okay, you don't win this. So this is just a long, drawn-out fight, because since you died so early, this fight was pretty much over. But yeah, okay. So next fight, let's see. Oh, you go Brig here. Okay. Okay, we can talk about the Brig pick. So you are playing against Tracer. So Brig Lucio is a thing you can play. It's not I understand here. I'm pretty sure you went Brig because you are getting ran over by their Doom Zarya Tracer. But that Brig Lucio, it's not gonna work into those DPS. If you were playing Brig, Ana would probably be the best comp here. And you do have beat, so the Brig will probably work for one fight, but in the long term, the Brig's not gonna work. Actually, no, because your Lucio is not gonna beat until you have grab. So yeah, Brig. The problem with Brig here is it's just straight up not enough healing, because they're playing Rein Zarya. Your Rein is gonna take so much damage. Like, even if their DPS are completely flanking, you might be able to protect yourself, but now you're no longer able to protect your Rein. So even though Ana is not fun into their comp, and you are going to get ran over, you pretty much have to stick with the Ana just because you can't sustain your tanks otherwise. If what you could do is go Moira. Moira can sort of keep herself alive with Fade and such, and she provides decent healing with Rein Zarya. It's still not great. Ana is definitely the best pick, even though you're getting ran over. It just comes down to getting peel from the rest of your team. You're on Ashe now, so you could try to play with your Ashe. You really need a McCree. That's what your team would have needed here. And if you had a McCree, you just have to follow your McCree wherever he goes, and if he starts to flank, you just ask him not to and stay with you. Because, yeah, you're going to get ran over, but you pretty much have to stick with Ana, just because you're not going to be able to heal your front line, even if you're able to keep yourself alive. So, I can talk about your Brig, even though, okay, so this is just a staggering yourself. You walk too far forward because they were pushing up. Yeah, I can talk about your Brig, even though Ana's a better Brig. We'll see. So the Tracer's behind. Okay. So walking out of spawn, their Tracer's spawn camping your Ashe. So you drop 3 armor packs into her. So, okay. So armor pack is I'm sure you know, it's a healing over time ability, and its duration, well, its healing lasts for roughly 4-ish seconds, Or no, it's like 3 seconds. I'm not sure. But if you could throw, it doesn't. So throwing extra armor packs on someone is almost always a bad idea because your healing, it doesn't increase your healing per second. It just makes the healing last longer. So you have 3 seconds of healing on this Ashe, and it's not a lot of healing per second. And you could have thrown all 3 packs instantly, which is basically what you did. And it's not going to make her heal. It's not going to heal her any faster. Your best bet here would be to throw one. Okay, wait. Let's see here. There's not a whole lot you could have done. First of all, your Ashe, you probably wouldn't have been able to save her. Okay, so you bashed out of spawn, which is fine because you had no idea there was a tracer coming. She hadn't even peeked yet. Yeah, so let's see. So yeah. So then she pushes your Ashe, and you give her 2 packs, and then you start to walk away, which is fine. And then you realize that's not going to save her, and you try to give her a 3rd pack. So none of that is going to increase your healing per second. That's not going to make her die any slower, because the Tracer just completely destroys the healing per second. Tracer does way more damage than that armor packs are going to give you. So what you do is you start to walk. First of all, you try to push the Tracer, which you can't push a Tracer on Brig. There's no way. Because your Lucio is fighting her, it'd be fine to come over here, because if she uses recall... Okay, so she recalls. So, basically, you wasted bash. Okay, let's go back. So you wasted bash trying to help your Ashe. Well, your Ashe was already dead. No, you wasted Ashe just trying to push bash, just trying to push the Tracer. So, walking over here was fine because you had a Lucio. If you were trying, I don't know if you knew your Lucio was here. If you didn't know Lucio was here, you should not have pushed her. But assuming you did, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. And assuming you knew your Lucio was pushing her, so you bashed over here, or you're about to bash, which might seem fine because she's not going to get in bash range naturally anyway. But the important part is, okay. Bashing, it was kind of... I wouldn't have bashed there, but it could have worked out if you had connected this flail. Or if you had flailed sooner, I guess you did connect it. It was just too late. But another thing you could have done is if you knew your Lucio was good enough to make her force recall, if you could have just stood right here. So, because of where her... You should have some idea of predicting recalls. Let's see, because you know Tracer was fighting Ashe in this general area. There was a Tracer here, and Shield Bash has a massive... It's a very easy to Shield Bash a Tracer off of recall, just because Shield Bash, it's hard to miss. So you knew the Tracer was somewhere in this area when she's gonna recall. You know she's hopefully gonna recall because the Lucio does enough damage, and he does. The Lucio does his job there. He hits a couple things. So if you had not used Bash to get over here, and if you instead like just kept walking without Bash, you would have peeked the corner right around the time. You may not have even seen the Tracer before she recalled, but if you would have been around here when she recalled, and you could have just instantly just shield bashed her, because you should have, ideally you would have realized that she was going to recall somewhere around here, just because that's where she was shooting your Ashe from. But that's just that's a very specific matchup, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. You really just, your Lucio is pushing a Tracer, which is a waste of his time, especially because, okay, he kills her. Surprisingly, I did not think he would kill her. How does that happen? Okay, no, their Tracer is just not that good. But yeah, generally speaking, you could have armor packed your Ashe and just kept going. There's nothing else you could have done. You could have walked over here, which is what walking over here was fine to try to save her, but really there wasn't much you could have done there. But then recall predicting with Shield Bash is something you should try to think about. I don't know how much you play Brig. I saw you mostly played Ana in your profile, but I'm not going to worry too much about that. So let's see. Your whole team is staggering right now. Or actually, no, they're not. You guys did a pretty good job of regrouping. So you amp speed here, which is fine. And then where does that grab go? Your Zarya whiffs grab. I'm not sure why. Wait a minute. How did this happen? Okay, So you have a Torb and a Zarya in spawn. I did not see that. Okay, so your team... How did this happen? Okay, so your Zarya goes down while this whole Tracer interaction is happening. And then... You don't have time to wait for her, which is fine. Okay, I understand. I forgot his last fight. Alright, so you pretty much had to push here. That's fine. Your Torb gets caught up fighting a Doom. Okay, so yeah, there's nothing you could have done there. There's already a Wisp grab, so that's, I don't know what that was. So let's look at it. So you're running up here, you have to touch the point. This is fine, obviously. Where did your armor packs go? Ideally, you would have armor packed Lucio once and armor packed Rein once. So you pack, okay, right. You pack Tracer to go on a flank, which is fine. And then you pack Rein, hopefully, or Lucio. Oh wait, no, you don't use it. Okay. So you bash a Moira that's out of range, and she has Fade. So that's kind of a waste of a bash. And now you could have saved yourself with that bash. So using bash, just because you can bash someone doesn't mean it's going to help you. So this Moira, first of all, the bash didn't connect because you were too far away. Even if it was, she has Fade. There is no reason she shouldn't have Fade. I mean, she's sitting in their backline. She's positioned fine. You should have assumed she had Fade and just held on to bash for yourself. Bash should really be an offensive tool. You're very rarely going to use it aggressively. A defensive tool. You're very rarely going to use it aggressively. One time is predicting recalls, but generally speaking, it's a defensive tool. So you use it to push a Moira that has Fade and is also out of range. And then you promptly get charged, which is, you had no way of knowing that Rein was there. Getting charged there is unlucky. Wait, oh, you live, right, because you had Lucio, you had beat. And then you're just kind of running away. So, okay, so you walk into him and then you try to bash him there, but you get some unlucky, he falls in and gets unlucky. You really could have used bash to get away from him and join your team. And if you lose this fight, it's your fault. Because you died here trying to fight a Rein who you had no business being, you could have escaped with bash instead of trying to bash him. So if you lose this fight, it's probably your fault. Except your Rein gets shattered, which is unfortunate. You couldn't have stopped that. Okay, but you could have kept your Torb up if you had backed up and played with your team. Let's see. How's this play out? Yeah, just staggering. Okay. You come back, you pack whoever you can see, that's fine. And yeah, okay, there's nothing you could have done there. But yeah, the main problem there was pushing that Rein. It got you killed, and it turned your fight where you had an advantage into an even fight, and then you lost it because they had more. So yeah, then just staggering. So yeah, there you pushed a Rein you had no business pushing when you could have used Shield Bash to escape. That would have been, that's what you should have. So yeah, Shield Bash should really be used to keep you alive instead of... Okay, so do you stay on Brig again? I'm worried you're gonna stay on Brig. You just can't Lucio Brig, it's really... Okay, Lucio goes Ana. So Brig Ana here is probably the best supports you can play, knowing that they've been running Doom. So yeah, so this is fine. And going top left, yeah, because you have Brig, that's fine. You pack Tracer, which is good. Try to keep armor back away. So, let's see. Pushing up. Alright, let's look at this fight. So, okay, that's a good bash. And then you flail him here. And the problem with flailing him is that you just pushed him closer to his team. You had him stunned. He could not move. In this time frame, he was not capable of moving because you stunned him. And then you used flail here. So that pushed him in line of sight of his Zarya. So the problem, so I'll spec there's Zarya here. So he was walled off. Their Rein was walled off. And then your Rein was in the process of charging him. But instead you flailed him. So that first of all, your Rein misses his charge, and second of all, he gets bubbled. So even if the charge did connect, it wouldn't have mattered. So there you flailed him, which pushed him closer to his team, which is, yeah, so that's the downside of Brig's left shift, is that it's going to do, well, sometimes it's a good thing, but here it hurts you because you knocked her away from your team, and you knocked her both, you knocked him out of Mayfreeze and out of your charge, which that he would have died, I think, if you hadn't flailed him. Or, yeah, he was half health. He would have died if you had not flailed him there. And then, let's see. You have full armor pack, so you can... Okay, you pack Rein there, which is fine. Do you pack him again? Okay. That's so... Which is... that's fine, I guess. If you pack him a third time, I'd be worried. Okay, that was a good flail. Okay, so here you just bash into the Rein, except it was, again, out of range. and you really need to be using bash defensively there. The bash on the charging Ryan was fine because it stopped his charge. Let's see. Okay, so here you're confused whether you should play with your Ryan or focus their Tracer. There is no world in which you really should just can ignore the Tracer, because there's no world in which your Zarya is pushing the Tracer, true, but there's really nothing you can do. You could have maybe, I mean, the Tracer's not going to kill your Zarya. The Tracer's just going to be running either way. She's not doing anything. So you were indecisive here about whether you should help your Zarya or push with your Ryan. The problem is the Ryan has a max charge. Let's see, how much charge? Max charge Zarya pretty much looks like max charge, which he's going to need a lot more help than your Zarya is. And the Tracer's not going to do anything either way. So let's see, you bash in. Again, your bashes aren't finding anything. Or you're not getting anything done with it. And then you wake up asleep. So if you're in the middle, here's the thing. If you're in the middle of your swing animation and you want to cancel it, if you just put up shield for half... Oh, your shield was dead. That's unfortunate. Wait, was it dead? No, your shield was not dead. If you just put up shield, it'll cancel your swing animation, so you don't accidentally wake him up. Because I understand even if you let go as soon as you saw that, because you were already swinging, you couldn't have done anything except if you put up shield. That was your best bet there. But yeah, and then you go down because you bashed in. That was the thing. You literally bashed into their team. It didn't connect with anything. It just, let's see, here was that indecisiveness, and you do decide to go with your Ryan, which is good. And then you again bash in you bash the air. And you put yourself in a bad position, and then waking up that Ryan. Your Ryan could have charged him, like he tried to do. And then, yeah, you're just pushing too far. Like, the only time you need to push that far is if you absolutely need to trigger Inspire, but you already triggered Inspire. Inspire is your passive, the passive healing, by the way. You already triggered it by flailing their Zarya. Flailing their Zarya there earlier was perfect. Let's see. That flail was perfect, because it triggered your Inspire again. It reset the timer, so you have another 5 seconds to eat. Your Tracer got healed, your Mei got healed, and your Ana would have got healed if she wasn't full health. This res is unfortunate. You're fine. You should have been probably right here because you're bashing. There's nothing you could have done because you had no way of knowing this res was going to come through. If you had seen it, you could have saved your flail, and you don't even have to bash the Mercy to cancel res. You just have to left. If you hit her with left shift from right here, her res would have been over because she's already almost at max res range. So you could have ended res like that, but using flail on the Zarya was fine because predicting the res there, it's something you probably should have done, but that's just a game sense thing, is thinking about, okay, well, somebody's dead over there and they're playing Mercy, so they're 100% going to try to res that. Your Ana, did your Ana have sleep? That also should have been something your Ana should have been watching. Really your whole team should have been watching that, so that's not just your fault. But yeah, the main problem here, the main thing I have is this bash. You just completely just bash in for pretty much no reason. Oh, you already did it, but... And again, that was your Ryan's second chance to charge their Ryan, and you woke him up. The first time you flailed him out of the way, the second time you woke him up. So that is 2 times their Ryan could have died. It's just thinking about what you can do with your abilities, like, because both times it's just, you saved their Ryan. But yeah, and then you did a good job keeping Inspire up though. That like flailing the Zarya there. If that's hopefully that's what you were thinking about, was like, okay, I gotta keep my passive triggered because that's where you get your healing and your ult charge. But anyway, yeah, so that's just keeping distance to where you're doing your job, but not where you're feeding, like, because you died to Zarya, I think. Yeah, you died to Zarya, and that was just because you were in no man's land right here. So really, just this whole area, because their Zarya was back here, the only person their Zarya should be shooting or should be able to shoot is your Ryan. You should be directly behind your Ryan, but instead your Ryan was over here, and you were like in the middle of the point. So if you had bashed right behind your Ryan, that would have been fine. You really shouldn't have bashed, but if you were bashing something, that would be it. You should be saving bash for their doom, because that punch will kill pretty much anybody on your team. Even if he punches your Ryan, the follow-up damage will probably kill him unless you have bubble. So using bash just for movement, it's not that good here. You really need to be saving it to protect your team.
That wasn't the plan.
So let's see. Waiting for them to respawn, that's fine.
Fixing you up.
Okay, so somebody's in. Oh, that's your Tracer. Okay, that's fine. Alright, so you use the pack on the Tracer. Wait, you only have... Where did your packs go? Okay, wait, how did you use packs here? packed Zarya once, which you packed Ryan. You packed your Mei once again, got nothing, and then you had to use your third pack to heal your Ryan. So neither of those packs did anything. And now you're walking into this fight with one pack. So armor packs, they feel like they're hard to waste because it's on a 6-second cooldown, but when you're using several of them, it's really on an 18-second cooldown because you want to be walking into every single team fight with 2 packs and the third one charging, just because you're going to end up needing them to help everyone else. And you should pretty much always save 1 pack for your Ana, especially because they're playing Tracer Doom. And packing Mei, it really got you nothing here. Your Mei started to walk in, but then she even changed her mind, and she was just standing on the bridge when you packed her. So that you really need to save packs for when people need them instead of just getting antsy because you have full packs. It's fine to sit at full packs. Like, it's not like you're wasting them. Or it's better than wasting them, I should say. So you rally here, that's 100% fine. Rallying early is good. You bashing Ryan was eh. So alright, let's go back a second. So that bash, it did connect with Ryan, but it had no reason to. So again, they're playing Tracer Doom, so you really want to be saving your bash for that, like a Doom engage. I don't know where their Doom is. Where's their Doom? Okay, he's hiding. So yeah, Doom is always going to be doing something sneaky, so you really want to save your bash for that. And then you already saw the Tracer was about to engage. So bashing their Ryan just cuz, first of all, he had his shield up, and you had no reason to believe that he was going to drop his shield. So, because you would have just bashed a shield and done literally nothing. You did get lucky, and he dropped his shield at the right time. Yeah, he was shielding when you bashed him. You just did that for no reason. So the main thing here was keeping your bash, keeping your armor packs to protect your team instead of just throwing them on full health targets. Especially with the Mei. The Mei does still have armor. I don't know if you packed her again or not. I don't think you did. But you really went into this with not enough packs because you wasted them early. And then wasting bash. I know you want to go aggressive because you're using rally, but you don't need to. You already have a movement speed boost. You really don't need to bash for that. Using bash against their Tracer or Doom, and your Doom's probably about to get a kill. Either on your Ana if he punches her to that wall, or I don't know. But because you don't have bash, you can't protect your Ana. Also, your Ana didn't even get full armor. You always want to make sure your Ana got how much armor did your Ana get? Your Ana got 34 armor. That's two ticks of rally. So you basically left her. That's less than an armor pack. You basically left her here. And I assume you're going to keep pushing because you feel invincible because you have rally. That doesn't mean your team is. Most of your team didn't get much armor. It's just your Ryan, and he's the one taking damage already. So you really want to let the armor, make sure the armor builds up on particularly your Ana, but also your Tracer, because your Tracer benefits a lot from that. And then also, pretty much just your whole team, making sure the armor builds up. You can go this aggro, but make sure your team has armor. Because if your Ana is sitting there with 300 health, Doom can't one-shot her. Tracer does no damage because it's armor. And she's almost invincible. Almost. If she gets left alone, if you keep leaving her alone, but if she has armor and then you turn around and armor pack her every once in a while, she will not die. So it's fine to go this aggro, but make sure your backline is protected. And I assume either your Tracer or your Ana are about to die. Let's see. Okay, your Ana actually pushes up, which is, yeah, that's fine. Your Ana should not be this far pushed up, but she really could have just stayed here, even though the Doom would have killed her. She didn't know that. So let's see. This wall is good by your Mei. So now this is where you would have well, you could have actually, you should have kept bash either way. But yeah, you could have just. This is a good wall by your Mei. Let's see. You have no packs, I think. 2 packs. Okay, so this is where you need to start using your packs. As soon as you get grabbed, pack everyone that's in the grab with you. Because that makes a big difference. Okay, see here you're hiding to let your self heal work. And, okay, so it doesn't end up mattering in this fight because your Mei has an awesome wall and your Ryan hits the fast shatter. But that could have cost you the fight if the Doom had hit his punch, and I don't know what the Doom exactly did, but he could have killed your Ana very easily. Which, well, he could have punched her into any of these walls quite easily, and that could have ended her because she didn't have enough armor to survive. But yeah, alright, where are you now? Okay, so you're at full packs, which is fine. You could probably pack Ryan here just because you know he's gonna take that damage. It'll be worth it. You pack Mei, that's good. Okay, that was a good flail. You were trying to trigger Inspire there. And then that's a good bash. Okay, that was a good bash. Let me explain why.
Group up with.
Okay. So the flail was good because you were trying to trigger Inspire. Flailing a Rhine shield is always fine because if he drops the shield, he gets knocked back, and otherwise it doesn't matter. Flail is not that. You can waste flail. That's fine. So you bash him here, and that's okay. Actually, I thought their Doom had already used punch. If their Doom has punch, you really don't want to use. You really don't want to use
This will heal you.
bash. Okay, so that bash was okay, just because you knew he was walking in. He wasn't gonna push, or he wasn't gonna put up shield. So that bash was guaranteed to connect. Here, if you could have bashed that shatter, saving shatter for bash, or saving bash for shatter, and saving bash for Doom punch and shatter is the main things you want to be doing here. So that bash, it wasn't bad, but you definitely if you're playing optimally, you definitely would have wanted to save that bash for the punch and for the shatter, because you could have canceled either one of those. But yeah, in this case, you used mail. It didn't end up mattering, but it could have mattered. Let's see. Okay, how do you die here? You should have died here.
Meteor strike.
Let's see. So you try to push a Moira Mercy, a Mercy pocketed Moira. You realize your mistake. But you try to walk away from a Moira, which you really could have just put up shield and you would have been fine. You shouldn't. That wasn't as bad as it looked at first. You took more damage than you anticipated, but yeah, you can just shield a Moira. It's gonna take her like 5 seconds to kill your shield. So that, instead of trying to run away from her, you could have died just because you were running away instead of shielding. Yeah, it's not a big deal. You see, flail there, that's completely fine. You can flail Rhine all you want. Okay, so here you're too far forward. Hopefully you back up soon. Oh, okay, or you do the opposite. And that probably gets you killed. Yeah, that gets you killed. Or no? Yeah, okay, gets you killed. You just straight up bashed into their team. I don't think I have to explain why that's bad. It got you killed. And you had Rally. If you lose this fight, again, it's your fault. Because Rally could have easily saved this fight, because Rally is good against Coalescence, and they don't have Grab. Rally doesn't really help against Grab, but they don't even have it. So if you lose this fight, it's your team's fault. Or if your team loses this fight, it's your fault. Fatty Shatty. Let's see if I don't know if kills come through from that. It doesn't look like they will. Yeah. But yeah, so Iana got a good nano off. Let's see. But yeah, you just bash into your team there, and then your team maybe your team made up for it. I don't know. Doesn't matter if you win this fight. Let's see what do you do? Okay, so you pack your Iana. You gave her all 3 packs. Okay. Again, that's not gonna make her die any less. You could have given her 2 packs because she was low and you want to give her that overheal armor anyway. 2 packs would have been fine, but a 3rd pack here on your Rhine, that would have given him so much healing because the Bionade increases healing by 50% already. So that would be a lot of healing. And Rally, your Rhine, if he dies here, it's because you didn't pack him. Okay, so their Rhine gets frozen. So luckily your Rhine doesn't die, and by now the Rally's built up. So it looks like you win this round right here. Let's see. Okay, here you should be saving Shield Bash to cancel res. Their Mercy doesn't seem to go for it, which is fine. Okay, yeah, your Rhine gets full. So this is kind of not really your fault. You're keeping Inspire triggered, which is fine. And you tried to bash the Tracer, which I have no problem with, because if you had connected that bash, she would have died. There are the Mercy reses. So here you... How did you die here? So you're at full health right now. So you go for that flail, which is eh. I mean, you already had Inspire triggered, I think, so that didn't do a whole lot. And then it's just getting beamed by several people because you were trying to cross. And then you try to cross a Gren, which is also fine, but it was too late at that point. There's not a whole lot you could have done at that point. Your Rhine got pulse bombed, and everything kind of falls apart from there, especially because they got Grab off. And yeah, there's nothing you could have done other than not dying at the beginning. Oh, your Rhine gets a big shatter though. That might save the point. Anyway. Let's see, so waiting for your team to respawn. So you have Blizzard and you have Blizzard. That's the main thing I want to talk about. If you have Blizzard, you should immediately tell your team just run straight to point. I know you wanted to go high ground here. Fortunately, your team went main, and you went with them, which is good. But going main and hopefully walking straight to point would be the perfect play here, because the important thing is you have Blizzard, and Blizzard will cover the entire point. You get an instant cap, and probably they're going to feed onto point because they don't want to give it up. and that's probably gonna win the fight right there if you Blizzard on point. But I understand you can't do it. Oh, your Ryan. Okay, your Ryan gets bubbled, so he doesn't die. But you wanted to pack him there if you hadn't already. I'm not sure if you had. If you had already packed him, good thing that you didn't. But you packed him later. Anyway, okay. Again, flailing the Ryan's fine. Okay, I'm worried about how you use bash. Okay. Let's see this. So first of all, you left. Wait, what are they on now? They're on. Okay, they're on Kree. So you don't have to be with your Ana as much as long as you keep her armor packed. You should be okay. So you shield bash the Ryan, which is I'm okay with that because now that they're on Doom, now that they're off Doom, you don't have to hold shield bash quite as much. And then that Blizzard was really good. So that's yeah. The Ryan gets frozen. You could armor pack your sorry there. I don't know if I can save there. Your Ana is alone. It doesn't look like anyone's shooting her though. Your Ana's alone. Okay, yeah, she's getting pushed by Tracer and she dies. Did Tracer farm full spawn? Tracer already had full, so not a whole lot can be done about that. But you could have, if the Tracer didn't pulse her, she still might have died just because you had left her. But let's see, use rally, just clean up. Yeah, that's fine. I assume this is just a big stop right now. Yeah, shooting things, that's fine. Can't do much else there. Alright. So, your other support goes to Lucio here. Hopefully he goes back to Ana, otherwise you pretty much have to play Ana. Okay, so you're on Brig still. You really wanted to go Ana here, but we'll talk about your Brig anyway. Yeah, Ana here just because, or BAP actually, because you're on Orisa Ryan. BAP is a really good healer with that tank comp, and you can just sit with your Orisa. But okay, Brig is just not good here. But you're gonna struggle to keep. Let's see. Yeah, Brig is just kind of iffy. Ana would be better, but since you're on Brig, we can still talk about this. So you flailed here. Flailing was not good, and the reason for that is, well, wait. Let me watch that one more time. Let's see. Walk out. Okay, no, never mind. That flail was fine. If you had triggered Inspire there, it would have topped off your team because of that Moira orb. That's fine. Your Orisa goes for a pull. Did she get anything? Their Lucio tries to boop you, which obviously that doesn't connect because you did a good job playing on the left, so you weren't able to be booped. And then again, you just bash a shield for no reason. Like you can see the shield was nowhere near going down. It's low now, but when you bash it, that shield was like half health. Let's see. Flail's fine, and then you bash a shield. Yeah. So you do get Inspire triggered there, which is good. Your Orisa got picked off. That's unlucky. You really need to back up and play with your Ryan. Okay, you do that. You rotate around and play with your Ryan. Oh, good flail. That was good. Back your Lucio. That's fine. Yeah, pretty much you just sit on point here. You definitely could have shield bashed. I don't know if you had shield bashed or not. But if you did, you should have shield bashed the ball, and you could have flowed him off the map like you did with the Reaper. But yeah, that's fine. You push up without your Ryan here. Your Ryan is fighting like a ball or something, I think. It doesn't. Okay, you probably die here. No, you don't. Okay, you get very low though. You should have died there. So you weren't playing with your Ryan. Your Ryan should have been with you, but you can't control where your Ryan goes. So wherever your Ryan goes, you really just have to follow him. Even though this was good positioning if your Ryan was with you, but your Ryan wasn't. So even though your Ryan was in a bad position because he was chasing a ball, it doesn't matter. You have to follow him anyway. You can ask him to come main, but if otherwise, like, you end up feeding. Even though you don't die, you should have died because you pushed without your Ryan. And then you flail, trigger Inspire. That's fine. And let's see. Packing Hog is fine. You have very few packs here, just because you've been trying to pack people multiple times. Very easy. Actually, I'm not sure where your packs went. Let's check where your packs went. So you already had no packs. You again had no packs. So this was at the end of the fight. It's fine to have no packs here. So you packed Lucio. That was a good pack. Now what do you pack? Okay, that Lucio pack. Okay. So you didn't waste packs. You kind of wasted one on that Ryan. But other than that, your packs were fine there. Your Lucio is in a lot of danger. Even, I know he's going for a boot, but he still puts him in a lot of danger there. So keeping him packed is fine. Here, you packing that hog is iffy because you have no packs. If you had a lot of packs, that would be fine. But because you had none, you really wanted to help the front line. Here, their Ryan just kind of fed, or he got moved off. And then, yeah, swinging. Good stuff. You keep pushing? Okay, you die here. Oh, you rally to save yourself. That was risky. It worked, which you're lucky it worked, but rallying, you probably still would have died, and you still died. So that rally, if you're in a position where rally is very rarely going to save you, if you think you're going to die, rally is not going to help you. You really need to be using rally preemptively.
Ready for more.
And that rally, okay, you go Ana, perfect. Okay, if you were planning on switching to Ana, using rally there is great. Just because you use, yeah, if you just get rally off, don't. Yeah, okay. Since you went Ana, I'm fine with that rally. Let's see, okay. We can talk a lot more about it.
Ready for more.
So,
Never.
Okay, healing. Okay, so you nade here. So nading here would have been fine, except you naded too close. So you naded for the sole purpose of healing your Ryan. Your nade landed like right here. If you had just thrown your nade a little bit further right here, their Ryan, he was in the middle of charging. He was charging this way. That nade, even if he was all the way in this corner, that nade still would have connected on him. And they are playing ball, so they don't have a bubble. So here is where your nade is going to be the best, is going to be your most useful tool to win fights. It's even more so than Nano, I would say. Because if you purple their Ryan, he dies. Coalescence doesn't matter. Sound barrier, I guess it would still help him. But if you hit that nade here, their Ryan's dead. And then what are you sleeping? You try to sleep the ball. That's fine. Oh, you hit it. Okay. Their Ryan gets a big shatter. Couldn't have done anything about that. But he would have. Well, he would have died probably if the nade connected. So yeah, just trying. Important thing there is trying to nade. What am I saying? Oh yeah, trying to nade to where you're not only healing your Ryan, but also connecting a purple, because every time you purple that Ryan, he is very likely going to die, just because they have no Zarya, and their Lucio Moira heals. So that's not any burst healing, so even after the nade wears off, he's going to be super low, and it's going to be hard for them to heal him up. Let's see. You probably could have spotted the ball coming over here. You were scoping a lot, so I'm not surprised that you didn't. But I'm not sure what their ball's going to do. I don't think he's going to be a big... Okay, so the Mega gets stolen from you there. That probably gets killed.
You're not getting rid of me that. Just a scratch, you'll be fine.
Okay. So, you get booped in. So yeah, unfortunately your Mega gets stolen, so you have to nade yourself. That's fine. You missed sleep. That's unfortunate. But your Ryan was pushed too far up here. There's really nothing you could have done. You were so focused on keeping yourself alive, which is fine. Because either you died or your Ryan dies, and if you died, then your Ryan's gonna die anyway. So there's really nothing you could have done there. That was unfortunate that your Mega got stolen. Okay, so here, you're staggering yourself. You're just... Let's see. So it's not a big stagger. It's only like maybe a second. But if you had just ran into the Ryan and died faster, you could have respawned a little bit earlier and started healing up your Sig, who is 1. Okay, he'd die. He would have died either way. Okay, so it didn't make a big difference there. But as soon as the team fight's lost, you just want to run into them. Either get it, don't like waste time trying to get out, unless you're like, unless you're 100% confident you're able to get out and just die. Like even on Lucio, a lot of times you can get out, but just taking the risk of staggering yourself even more, it's not worth it. So if you could have died a little bit earlier there, and you could have respawned a little bit sooner, but it's fine. Okay, healing. You're waiting for your team right now, so you could have walked over there and tried to help your Kree. That I don't know if you could have saved them, but you could have walked a little bit sooner. Your whole team is beating you now. Okay. So let's talk about this Nano. It's last fight. So you definitely want to use Nano soon. So as soon as you get Nano, you use it. I think.
You're powered up.
Yeah.
Get in there.
Ignore the ball. You probably didn't even see the ball coming. Even if you didn't, their Ryan is here and your Ryan is here. As soon as their Ryan sees that Nano, he's probably just gonna walk away. He's probably gonna start disengaging right away. And even if he didn't, it would take your Ryan probably a full 2 seconds to cross. Man, okay, well not 2 seconds, but like a full second and a half to cross this distance. And he's also about to get booped back and minefielded, so he's absolutely going to get nothing. But what you could have done is say, Rein, run in, I'll nano you, and team chat. That way, your Rein would just hard engage, and then by the time the Reins are clashing and within swing distance of each other, then you nano him. And that does two things. First of all, it makes the nano effect, and the whole nano effect, useful because he's getting value from it as soon as you use it. And second, their Rein is not going to be able to disengage because he thinks that it's a fair fight because he doesn't know you have nano, or he's probably not thinking about nano. So their Rein is going to be swinging your Rein, so he's not even going to have his shield up when the nano comes through. So your Rein can get like a swing fire strike. That's over 200 damage. That's almost 300 damage to their Rein. And it probably wouldn't have mattered. Your Sig's dead, and your Lucio. Let's see. Hopefully your Lucio uses beat really soon because you're gonna need it, especially when this minefield comes in. But yeah, so if you had told your Rein, you probably use nano to make your Rein walk in, but it's best. Yeah, and I understand at this rank, Reins can be really passive. So if you need to nano your Rein to make him walk, that's fine. But if you could have told him to walk here, that probably would have been better. And then use the nano a little bit later. But yeah, the game was over at this point. The game was already over, just because your Sig's dead and they have 5 ults coming online. So the game's over, but it's obviously don't give up. So they use mines here. Your Rein could clear the mines, but another really useful tool for clearing mines is Bionade. Let's see, what do you do here? You're very close to walking into that. Okay, your Rein clears the mines, which is great. So you didn't even have to use nade, which is perfect. Okay, you didn't have sleep, so nading was fine there. And I assume you die. No? Yeah? Yeah, you die. Okay. And then that's the end of the game. Yeah, okay. So, couple of takeaways. So you played Ana and Brig there. So we'll talk about Ana first. So Ana. So yeah, the main things were because you were playing into Doom, you were wasting sleep a lot, just throwing it into a shield. Once they were off Doom, you can sleep a lot more, or like dive heroes, really anything that can attack you. So when you're in more danger than your Rein when they're playing like Doom Tracer like they were first round. So you really want to be saving sleep.
Feeling sleepy?
And yeah, just saving sleep for yourself. Pretty much never sleeping unless you're getting attacked. And then the other thing is nade. On the other hand, nade is what you should be using aggressively. Nade is like that's going to be how you're winning team fights, is by nading their Rein. And hopefully you're going to want to use nade after they use bubble, because that way the nade can't be cleansed right away. And then nano, using nano to force them to force your Rein to walk forward is fine at this rank, but ideally you want to ask him to walk forward, and then like while he's walking forward, and once he's in swing range of their Rein, you can once he's in swing range, you can nano then. But if you need to use nano to force your Rein to go aggro just because it's being too passive, that's fine.
This is going to hurt.
But yeah, it's really managing your abilities there, and then your positioning, right? So you have to play. It's tough. You want to play where you can see your Rein, but the thing that takes even higher priority over that is playing where you're not gonna die, because if you're dead, you're not helping your Rein either way. So like on that first point, the very first or the second fight, I think it was, where you had to push up. Or actually, I think it was like, I don't know what fight it was. Yeah, you had to push up all the way, like if this is the entrance to the point, you had to push up all the way and then like peek over here, and then the Zarya just came around to the right and pushed you because you had to push up to where your Rein was. So you got yourself killed trying to save your Rein. Your life is the most valuable one on the team, just because if you die, the fight's over. Because you're on. So yeah, prioritize your own survival over your Reins. I mean, you want to do your best to save them, but if you're going to get yourself killed by doing so, it's not usually worth it. But yeah, I would focus most on ability usage, because that's where you're going to see the fastest short-term improvement, is looking at how you're using your abilities. Positioning is something you don't have to worry about if you're looking for like a couple hundred SR climb. I would focus on your ability usage. That's the easiest thing to fix. So yeah, use nade aggressively and use sleep defensively. And then Nano, just
You're
and I
powered
explained the
up.
thing
Get
with
in
Ryan.
there.
Obviously, nanoing DPS, that's pretty intuitive. If you think they're gonna get like Nano Blade or whatever, but if you're nanoing tanks is the hardest thing to tell. And also, you can use Nano to save your DPS, or well, save anyone really. If you can save someone instead of using Nano aggressively, that's completely fine. Like I've nanoed Mercies before, just because of them dying in the fight anyway.
Lights out.
Probably. Like, you can nano whoever you want, or well, whoever you need to save. Like if you don't think your healing is going to be enough, you can just nano someone to save them, even if they're not going to get any kills. But yeah, I think that's covers Ana, and then Brig. So main thing is you were using Bash way too aggressively, and then you were putting multiple packs on a person at once. Like you did this to your Ashe. Like you did this to your Ashe, and then you also did it to someone else. Who was it? I don't remember. But the main thing I saw was when you did it to your Ashe, where you literally just gave her all 3 packs to try to save her. It doesn't increase your healing per second. It's not going to save her. It's not going to save her any more than 1 pack is, rather.
See ya.
So yeah, and then using Flail, Flail is your best friend to trigger Inspire. Inspire being the healing that heals your team, other than the packs. If you can, Flail does trigger Inspire, and then a couple other things that trigger Inspire, just like Minefield triggers Inspire. If you're shooting Wrecking Balls mines, if you're swinging at them, that'll keep it Inspire. So it lasts about 5 seconds. So you want to keep it going. There's a stat, I think. Yeah, Inspire uptime percentage in the bottom right. You want to keep that as high as possible. Pretty much close to 100%. Obviously, when you're dead and stuff, it goes down. But during a fight, you never want Inspire to go down, because that's where you're getting your value. That's where you're getting your ult charge. But yeah, and then you shield bash in a lot, and then also you pushed without your Rhine on that 3rd point. That was the main thing I saw, was pushing without your Rhine. And then Rally, you pretty much always want to use it preemptively, and you did a good job of that, except for that one time where you thought you were going to die because you were on fire, and you used Rally to try to save yourself, and it did save you in the short term, but then you died to like a minefield or something. That's risky because you didn't die, but you probably would have. Or I would have. I thought you were going to die, just because using Rally to save yourself, it rarely works. If you're already in a position where you're going to die, it's usually too slow. But yeah, I think that about covers it. You stayed on Brig with Lucio Brig, you know, you really did want to be on Lucio Ana, even though Lucio is not a good pick right now. You can't control what your other support does. You still needed to play Ana just because for the sheer healing differential that cost you quite a few fights. But yeah, and that was a big reason you won that 2nd point. You were playing Lucio Brig, which is one of the strongest support points right now. But yeah, I think that about covers it.
You're wasting my time.
Let me know if you have any questions.